It is an absolute honor to welcome our esteemed speakers, Dr.D.K.Hari and Dr.K.HemaHari, the founders of BharathGyan, an initiative dedicated to researching and documenting India's civilizational knowledge. Their work has helped bridge ancient wisdom with modern understanding. Together, they have authored over 100 books, produced 5 documentaries, 700 short films, and delivered over 250 multimedia talks worldwide. They have been key contributors to initiatives like BharathGyan, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and have served as knowledge partners for the Government of India. Their contributions have earned them numerous accolades, including an honorary doctorate from Sri Sri University and the Vishalakshi Award from the Art of Living. We are privileged to have them here today to share their profound insights. Over to you, sir and madam.
Good morning to all. Thank you for inviting us for this IKS program. At the outset, we'd like to thank the Secretary of your college, Dr. Devi, for inviting us, and all other faculty, professor colleagues, Tamil others for inviting us here. Thank you so much. So we'll get on to the subject of that has been given to us today of IKS and our culture. We'll be making a multimedia presentation on showing you different aspects, facets through slides as well as through some more animation, and we'll talk along with it for the next 40 minutes or so, the time given to us. Thank you. So the idea of Bharatiya heritage, Bharat is our land, right from Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati to others. Everybody has spoken about this land as Bharatam. So it's got a heritage. What is the word heritage? We say, and we always celebrate something called a World Heritage Day too. It's coming shortly in a month and a half, where we normally celebrate heritage of the different sites, the monuments that we have in the land. But it's just the monuments and the sites, the heritage of this land. Heritage goes a lot deeper, if you can see. If so, what deep? How deep? So, what is heritage? That which we inherit is heritage. What which is legally passed on to us is legacy. Now, when somebody passes on something to his heritage, it could be both tangible and intangible. What are the tangible heritages? Your parents, your grandparents giving you your gold jewelry for you all young girls is your heritage. The culture, how to put kolam, how to do your various festivals, how to lead life, how to conduct Navratri well, is all, again, all your intangible heritage that you get. Legacy is, of course, what you get in the form of your building, your house, your shares, that's all there. But what is important to note for both of this is there is something pre-existing. That pre-existingness comes from a sense of prosperity. So only when there's prosperity, that gives you heritage. If there's lack of prosperity, it does not lead to heritage. So when you say Bharatiya heritage, that means this land of Bharat has consistently had prosperity, not for a couple of decades, not just for a couple of centuries, but for many, many millennia. It's because of the prosperity that this land has been able to bring forth that you have heritage. So understand, heritage and prosperity go hand in hand and they intertwine themselves, because what is you receive as heritage becomes prosperity for next generation to receive as heritage. So it's continuous, it's ongoing process. There's the beauty of it. And you have all this heritages of the land, the physical.
And at this point, I just want to add something. We normally say sustainability. So we have come across this beautiful explanation of what is sustainability. Sustainability is not just preserving what you get as is, but enhancing and making sure that it passes on to the next generation in an even better shape. So don't just preserve it, but even better it and give it to the next generation. So when we're talking about heritage, like Hariji just said now, It is about what you have got as prosperity and you're going to pass it on. You also, if you can enrich it, you can better it further and give, then you can ensure that your heritage is going to be sustainable down many, many, many generations.
And the first step in that is keeping it clean. The idea of Suddham, Suhamtarum is very important. Suhadaram, very important. So the idea of Swachha Bharat, important. Not just keeping your college environs clean and nice, your home environs clean and nice, but also know that your whole city is your home, your whole state is your home, your whole country is your home. So keeping it all clean is the first step to sustainability. That's importance. Hygiene, health comes from hygiene.
So we have always seen all of this, and we talk about especially Tamil Nadu. It is said that only heaven has more gods because there are so many, many temples over here, and we can see them wherever we go. But is that all heritage is about?
See, very important aspect of heritage is what? Water. And water harnessing is important aspect of heritage. Okay, how many of you have very special days in your year? All young girls mostly, apart from the faculty professors. All of you hear about days like what?
Faculty also young.
Young faculty also certainly young is what my wife says. Certainly is all the faculty also young, good, young at heart certainly. See, you have days like Dhanteras. You have days like Akshaya Tritiya. What do you do on those days? Seriously, what do you do on those days? You try to buy gold. You think gold is prosperity. But to buy the gold, what do you need? You need monetary value. You need monetary money to buy gold. Where does the monetary money come from? The monetary money comes from prosperity. How is that prosperity created? Work backwards. It's all about backward integration. I'm sure in management, all of you will be learning about backward integration. Where does that come from? Only when you have water harnessing, you can have your fruits grow, you can have your grains grow, you can do any form of agriculture, you can do any form of industry, you can lead a domestic life only if you have water. So water harnessing is important. And of all places, I know Coimbatore, I've lived there on that same road. So I know how difficult water is, how deep water is in the well. So water harnessing takes a very important aspect. So it's a heritage. So Neer Semippu, Neer Melanmai, as we say in the Tamil language, is an important, tangible aspect of our heritage. So our heritage is not just the jewelry we get. Heritage is not just the practices of puja that we do and all the utsavam, not only the buildings we inherit.
Or the monuments we have and we can see.
The public monuments.
As tangible as those monuments are also our water harnessing systems, because they come down to us, one, as a sign of prosperity, as a giver of prosperity, and they contain within them the knowledge and the traditional practices. So the design of these actually speak to us as to how this land has to be managed with water, and this water harnessing system has to dovetail with the topology of that local geography.
Hydrology and topography is very important. And look at this. Here's a statement by a British observer, author by name Edmund Burke. He made this about 150, 200 years back. Watching Tamil Nadu, he said, the tangible heritage of this land, Tamil Nadu, is because of its water harnessing. Look at this quote. This is there in one of our books called U-Turn India. In page number 207, she'll just open up the page for you.
I'm just going to read this out. It's very, very telling and touching. So this Edmund Burke, he describes the importance of the irrigation systems in this land. And he writes, these are the monuments of real kings who were the fathers of their people, testators to a posterity, which they embraced as their own. These are the grand sepulchre built by the ambition of an insatiable benevolence, which not contented with reigning in the dispensation of happenings during the contracted term of human life, as trained with all the teachings and graspings of a vivacious mind to extend the domination of their bounty beyond the limits of nature and to perpetuate themselves to generations as the guardians, the protectors, the nourishers of mankind. Now, this English is going to be very difficult for us
because
to understand.
It's 200-year-old English, but look at what he says.
So, in a simple present day language, what he's saying, these numerous water irrigation projects of the local rulers are equal to the monuments for these local rulers who consider themselves to be the fathers of their people. These are equitable to monuments they have left behind for the posterity, for the generations they considered as their own. So, mind you, this is an Englishman who is making an observation of all the Eri, Kuttai, Kolam, all the Uranis, everything that he's seeing around. We are not realizing it. We didn't I mean, our ancestors did, which is why they efforted on it. They created it and efforted to keep it clean. But today we don't realize it. But here is an Englishman who realized it then after coming and visiting us. And look at how beautifully he is saying. He says, these were rulers who were filled with an infinite feeling of benevolence to their people. They were not content with giving their people a good rule and comfort during their own contracted limited lifetime and rule alone. So, in their rule, what they can do, they were not contented with just doing that alone. They were not content with just enjoying the bounty that nature could give in the form of seasonal rains alone. So, whatever in that limited period, that itself was not alone for these rulers. They wanted to deploy the teachings and learnings of their ancients and their own imaginative minds to extend the bounty beyond what nature could provide in the form of rains. So, not only they wanted to deploy what their ancestors taught them, but also their own imaginative minds they added to so that they could extend the bounty of nature beyond the rains. They wanted to ensure that even after their lives, the land and the people could continue to enjoy all these bounty. And imagine he's talking about systems that were set up more than 1,500 years ago. Many of them continue to live even today, and they are providing for us even today.
Yes, they're providing for us even today. Our heritage, our prosperity is because what was done many centuries ago and continue to be survived. But the point is, in the last couple of generations, after the times of Edmund Burke, we have lost track, and what we have not done is we have not maintained them in a sustainable way for us to use today and to pass on to our next generation. So, heritage, have we maintained it? Is a question mark that all of us need to ask ourselves, both individually and collectively here.
And also, what have we understood of heritage? See, for instance, he's saying, so instead of following a practice of elaborate burials and building grand memorials, they chose to build and maintain a number of water irrigation projects, which would not only ensure all the benefits for their people for generations to come, but would also perpetually intern them in the memories of generations to come as guardians, protectors, and nourishers of their land and its people. So, this is about the heritage, what heritage really means, what it can give us.
So, our earlier rulers, kings, noblemen, thought it fit not to build their statues at every street corner, but instead create water harnessing projects, because that was the real heritage. And we remember them today because of that. We survive today because of that. We don't survive because of statues. We got a lot of heritages, like from the times of Balrama and before, we have had people doing this, as you can see in that.
So all our tangible heritage, besides the temples, the monuments and everything, are also our indigenous breeds of cows and horses that
what you call as Natu Pasu there, and the horses, of course.
And our own traditional ways of doing agriculture, our traditional designs of plow. Yeah, in fact, we have had letters from Einstein
To
talking
C.V.
about
Raman.
to Sir C.V. Raman about the very scientific design in which Indian plows are designed to suit Indian soil. Mind you, every plow has to suit the soil condition. You cannot have a generic plow design. And this was known uh, very natively by all the local people. So you will find that the plows, even across India, every region has its own kind of plow.
And do you know who was the early person to use the plow, design the plow, and give us good quality agriculture yield? Balrama. That is 5,100 years ago. So we have 5 millennia plus knowledge of how to turn the soil to create conducive agrarian facility in this land. So that is heritage. Similarly, all of you talk about chess, the board game. We today, of course, India are the champions in this board game of chess and many other sport. But if you see the game chess, the earliest record of chess is a game being played between Ravana and his wife Mandodari. It's a game of this part of the world. Today, it's a world game of the mind. Look at this. So, this is about 7,100 years before present. Here's a game. Of course, then they didn't call the game chess. Chess is, of course, a very much anglicized name from our game Chaturangam. That's the earlier name. Before it was called Buddhi Bal. Buddhi Bal, the strength, the bal, the strength. So, Buddhi Bal was the game then. Similarly, look at the game Polo, a popular game world over played on the horses. You also have people attire, dress, they call it polo. Polo Ralph Lauren, one of the premier dress materials in the world, you'd hear. But the game polo is from Bharat, from India, from Manipur. It was the Manipuri kings and the local Janajatis of Manipur playing that game. The ball they played with was called pulu. So from there, that game polo came. Similar various food habits that we have. Like that, look at the heirlooms, the clothes all of you wear. The idea of sari, the pajama, everything, the very word pajama, pyre jama, that is that which you fit on the feet, pajama. Today it's worn as a night dress the world over. But all of this is our tangible heritage, not intangible. It's our tangible heritage.
And actually, there's a beauty. Now, we all know about Veena because we're talking about Ravanan. We all know how Ravana is known for Veena Vadyam. And Veena, if you look at it, it's one of the ancient classical music instruments of Bharat. And what is this Veena actually? It is a musical instrument which makes sound because of the resonance of the strings, the metal strings on the Veena, right? Now, if you say that Ravana was a player of Veena, we had tambura and all these musical instruments are coming from so many millennia ago, none of these musical instruments could have made sound without those metal strings. Who gave them the metal strings?
How did you get those alloys? The metal which can give the nadam. That means what? Our people were experts, capable, competent in alloying, in metallurgy to bring out the right nadam from each filament of a string. So that needs highest level of metallurgical marvel, not to make lumps of alloy, but to make fine strings which bring out the nadam. So,
and look at, and yet another thing. See, a veena, if you wanted to make nadam, then you need to have all those ferrets placed at the right distance, at the right width. This is just sheer mathematics to know which are the frequencies that will give you harmonics and will give you that beautiful tone and the sound. And today, when we talk about heritage, we limitedly think only about the music and the artist alone who plays the veena. We are not thinking about the generations of metallurgical artisans who have actually who had perfected this art of making these fine strings, and also those mathematicians who knew about this to be able to create that Veena in the first place. And to this date, there is this Madala Narayana Swami street in Chennai, in Mylapore. You go there, you'll find that is a place where people go to for making and repairing old Veena and all that. So till today, we are preserving the technique of making these and maintaining this. So these are all also part of our tangible heritage. So while we celebrate what we see as beauty, we also should celebrate the knowledge, the collective, cumulative, civilizational knowledge, because it is not knowledge of one generation alone. It's a knowledge that is coming, transcending generation after generation.
Transcending time. She used the word. It's transcending generation, transcending time, continuity, surviving civilization. These are the components that you have the surviving civilization. You use the word Narada. The very term Narada. Why do you call him Narada? Because he gives you the Nadam. Where does the Nadam come from? The understanding of the Omkaram. The Omkaram traverses all the lokas. That's why you have a Triloka Sanchari. So look at the concept. So the idea of understanding harmonics, she used the exact word harmonics. How do you get harmonic? Because you need to realize where the frequencies are. And today people do graduation, post-graduation, doctorate only in harmonics. Isn't it amazing subject, wonderful subject to work on? But these were things we had mastered and practiced, sustained it, and passed it on generation to generation successfully.
See, we have a very beautiful word in all our local languages. We say parambare, and we also use the word parampara. The other variation of this is parampara. Look at the formation of this word. Para is the base of this word. Para means what? Para means that which is beyond, that which transcends, that which is beyond and farther away. So when you say paramparai or a parampara, it means it is this civilizational knowledge. And civilizational knowledge is a word because it is a knowledge across generations. Para, tandi, transcending, generation after generation. When it comes down to you, you call it is my paramparai sottu. It is my paramparai, it is my parampara. There are so many shops which are called by that name to say that this is about the heritage. So some of our words themselves actually convey a lot of these ideas to us. And this is what we also mean by when we say heritage. And this kind of knowledge is part of our intangible heritage. So while tangible heritage are things we can see, we can use, we can feel, we can experience, the intangible heritage is that which underlies all this tangible heritage. Without this intangible heritage, you would not be able to produce this beautiful tangible heritage.
Absolutely. Without the intangible is the foundation, the bedrock for the tangible. That is, when you have Sukshmam and Sthulam. Sukshmam is the bedrock for Sthulam. Because modern Western science only looks at the physical, the Sthulam. They don't look at the Sukshmam. Okay, the subtle. So the subtle leads to the gross.
And in fact, this is there right from our Veda, where we describe creation itself, Srishti, Prapancham itself, to have come from Sukshmam. So the Sthulam we describe as coming from Sukshmam. So Sukshmam has always been the basis for the Sthulam to manifest.
So look at the idea of how do you get the English word zero? It starts 1,000 years before that. Here we have Shunyam. Both in Sanskrit and Tamil and all the Bharata languages, you have the word Shunyam. When it goes to Arab, it becomes, from here it travels, it goes to Arabia, it becomes Sifr over 3 centuries. Then in Latin, it becomes Sifra, Zephram. It goes to French, it becomes Cipher. Then in Italian, it goes Zefro, Zero. Then Cipher, zero. So over 1,000 years, the symbol, the concept, the tattva, the principle of zero travels, and the 16th century reaches England to become zero. So that's how you get the word cipher also you say. So all comes from here, comes from the base word shunya. Similarly, have you ever wondered why do you show this shape for infinity, ananta? The term, why is infinity called infinity? Why can't you call it something like gumpati or infinity or bumpati or something? Why do you call infinity infinity? Have you ever thought of it in maths? It comes from the root shabda ananta, unending, anta end, ananta unend. So the so the
So if you look at it, the shape itself of this infinity and how do we depict this Ananta? So for us, look at this idea, both this idea of zero and infinity, the two extremes in mathematics. For us, these have actually come from the highest thoughts on origin, creation, which today we call as also philosophy. We say that, but after all, even science is philosophy, which is why when you reach the highest level, highest degree in science, you don't, after Master of Science, you start calling it Doctorate of Philosophy. Because science and philosophy, they just blend. I mean, they are inseparable.
That's why you got PhD. The degree after this called PhD. It's philosophy. You get doctorate philosophy. Even though you may have done a science subject, means they merge at the top. That's the beauty of it. And look at this.
And these two are at the ends of the spectrum, zero and infinity. And we have spoken about it from creation, endless cycles of creation, the vast sizes, and so on. And that how it we have also applied in math. And because of that, we've been able to lead to calculus and so on. It's a beautiful, intangible heritage.
Calculus came from Bharadam. Calculus was actually taken from Malabar, Iranyalakuda, the place Iranyalakuda, from where it was taken by the Jesuit priests to Europe and became calculus. We have written extensive articles on that, and it's a book. Please read it. All the word algebra to geometry, all these are the terms taken from especially South India, the Malabar region. Similarly, you have pyramids all over Egypt. What is the mathematics to make the pyramid? They don't have it with them. Whereas the software is available with us, the hardware is there. All of you have computers, all of you have laptops. That's hardware. Can you operate it without the software? Ever did you even pause to think without the software you can operate your laptop? The hardware. So the software for all that knowledge is here in Bharat, still available to be put in practice. And now is the time to put all this in practice with the knowledge. And if you see, yoga is another intangible heritage being recognized the world over. And if you see all the yantras, yantra, tantra, mantra, we have made a film on it. It's available for you all to watch later. Now, how many of you heard of the word Zen Buddhism in Japan? How did the word Zen come about? Why is it called Zen? It comes from the word Dhyanam. Dhyanam, when it went to China, became Chan. Dhyan, the becomes Ch there. So Dhyanam becomes Chan in China. And from China, when it goes to Japan, it becomes Zen. And it now comes back to they teach Zen Buddhism. They've got schools of Zen Buddhism in India. The origin is Dhyanam. So that's how it goes about. All this written about in our books called Different Autobiography of India. You can please read the details available there at your convenience. It's on our website. She'll just talk to you about what is the definition of heritage, first of all. Please go ahead.
So from all this, by now you would have got a more holistic perspective of what is heritage. So, and here there is a very beautiful definition from University of Massachusetts, where they've really taken pains to address this aspect of heritage. So they're saying heritage is the full range of our inherited traditions, monuments, objects, and culture. Most important, it is the range of contemporary activities, meanings, and behaviors that we draw from them. So it is not only what you have got as, and look at it, they've placed traditions first, leading to visual expressions of culture. And it is not just that, it is also contemporary activities, meanings, and behaviors that we draw from them, because this is going to be the heritage for our next generation. So heritage includes, but is much more than preserving, excavating, displaying, or restoring a collection of old things alone. It is both tangible and intangible in the sense that ideas and memories of songs, recipes, language, dances, and many other elements of who we are and how we identify ourselves are as important as historical buildings and archaeological sites. So, you are celebrating this conference for folklore and culture. So, it is all these folklore and so many various other aspects. But in that folklore, it is not just to relish the song or when they were sung. It is also to understand the knowledge when a person, when a mother sings us a lullaby, and she may just say it in one sentence, but within that sentence lies generations of knowledge that she is imparting to the child. So we see that while we have legacy, we also have heritage that we are inheriting in so many different ways, right from that lullaby which is being sung to us from the mother's lap. And it is this kind of prosperity and this heritage which go hand in hand. And for the Bharata civilization, we have uh, got all this heritage coming to us along with four particular objectives: the dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These define the purpose in our lives and which has helped us create these heritage. Now, how does this heritage map to the present times and where we are living and the needs of our society today? So, if you look at today's context, many of you on in 2022 on 15th August, you would have come across this address by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi from the Red Fort. So he took a Pancha Prana pledge that day on behalf of all of us, of course. So it is a pledge which is a resolve of a developed India by 2047 in 100 years and from independence, and removing the trace of colonial mindset, taking pride in our legacy, and developing a strength of unity and fulfilling duties of citizens with honesty. So these 2 points, if you look at it, removing trace of colonial mindset and taking pride. So colonial mindset is what we have, unfortunately today, is the mindset with which we are going around, where we have forgotten our native traditions and the native civilizational knowledge, but have now filled ourselves up with the way things are done in other countries, in other parts of the world. And we are trying to emulate that. So only when we do things in our native way, knowing our strengths, will we be able to generate a prosperity which can become a heritage for future generations. And which is why they have this new education policy in 2020, which all of you are now following, many of you are following, where we do have a subject which is called IKS, Indian Knowledge System, which is what your conference is trying to make you all aware of and get you rooted with this Indian knowledge system and the Indian civilizational heritage. Now, in this, if you look at it, actually, there are, so today now it's almost as good as we are really starting again. And we do have these roots, aerial roots that are hanging from this old banyan tree, and we are trying to hold on to it and cling on and climb. So as we do that, there are 5 steps that we all have to realize. First, we have to realize that we have to become aware. And we've had speakers before, and we are also trying to bring to your knowledge that there are so many aspects that India has contributed, has generated and contributed to the world, both in the realms of matter as well as mind, both tangible and intangible. So awareness is first step. Only when you know there is something will you be able to appreciate, will you search for it, will you appreciate it. And once you will end up appreciating it, because it is such a wow factor when you hear and read about each of these things that our ancestors have done. It is going to create a sense of wow, and you will end up appreciating. And when you do that, you will start assimilating. You will take efforts to assimilate it, to absorb it, to take it in, so that it becomes part of your ethos. And that is when you graduate, see, your teachers are giving you, your faculty is creating all these seminars, giving you this IKS ability to pursue IKS here, so that in your graduation year and all that you can, by the time you graduate, you have this basic knowledge, which you can later, many of you who may take up further research, academics, you can then adapt to situations that prevail today, to needs of today. Because if you remember right from beginning, we are saying that sustainability is not only about what you've got, but also taking it, applying it, contemporarizing it. So adapting it is very important for present times. So you have a double challenge. You have to understand the knowledge, imbibe it, and then adapt it, and only then you can apply it for the benefit of all again today and for future generations to come. So this is a whole cycle, and once you are aware that there are all these steps to IKS, you will know how to go about it step by step and equip yourself suitably to be able to leverage this heritage that you have inherited from your ancestors. So there are both aspects to this. One is from a civilizational perspective of being assimilating it, and then from working towards adapting and applying it from a perspective of sustainability, and also an eco, which has been the Bharata psyche. So eco, what two ecos are we talking about? So one is ecology and the other is economy. So we have been a civilization that has struck a beautiful balance between these two, and that is what has given us our sustainability. So if you look at it, IKS, it comes with the mandate on you to absorb it and make yourself relevant for today's times with this traditional knowledge. And why do we choose this Bharata civilization's knowledge? One, because you live on this land, so you should know what this land is capable of giving you and how you should therefore leverage it. And secondly, it has shown you that what it has is enough, and it is so beautiful and bountiful that it has been a successful civilization, and you can also be a successful generation of this civilization. So there are, from these 2 points, this traditional knowledge is very, very relevant, and IKS is how to make yourself relevant. It is a tool to instill pride and confidence in you so that you can dare to emulate those same ways. See, you want to grow to be a nice, strong tree, tall tree, and branching all over. But you can do that only if your roots are strong. And IKS is that root. So even if you do your physics, your chemistry, and all of that, which you have as part of your curriculum, you should know how to apply all that you're learning there for your land and what your land is capable of giving you when you apply that for principles of physics or chemistry. So the roots, understanding your roots are very, very important, because there, one, every problem, you have to go to the root to solve it, and it's the same root which has your strength as well. So this is why IKS is part of your NEP, and it is very important to learn this along with all your other subjects as well, because these are needed both to give you that confidence and inspiration, as well as ability to relate. So we heard in the previous session about how to relate, have presence of mind. That will come because this is about giving you that soft skill and to help you scale up and have that confidence and dare to succeed.
So all this available we do this as proper courses, those who want on IKS. So those interested certainly welcome to join, and we'll be glad to, because this is the future of the 21st century is in what you call as SEL. And there are so many factors here which have been identified by the World Bank as being important. Literacy skills and IKS is a very important. The character qualities are the most important aspect of this. This is what is being offered now as proper foundational courses for people to look at and take things. Because as he says here, competency and character development are important. For competency, it depends on traits. Traits depend on character. They shape the character. And they're inherited as legacy. Traits are inherited as legacy. And legacy comes from a civilization. So the Bharata civilization studies, which is essential as part of IKS, becomes an effective tool to aid the development of social and emotional skills, which are competency and character bearing for Indians. So India has a large legacy for all of you students to leverage from. That's the beauty of it, where the civilization is holistic, all rounded, where you have from identity to ethos, the whole cycle is available. It's all there in a website to see later at your convenience. So you get a full idea as to what our civilization is, which is what IKS is all about. And
see, because IKS, we study so many subjects. See, the literacy skills you would be studying about physics, chemistry, maths, and so on. But where are you going to understand what is your land? What are the strengths that your land gives you? How far does your history go, and what are the lessons you can learn from your history, old history, and also the kind of industries that this land is innately capable of supporting, and how we can do trade, how we have done it successfully. So all these aspects of your civilization, only something like an IKS subject can give you.
So it like how the peacock has got multiple feathers. I'm sure you got a lot of peacocks. All of you have seen it like that. The subjects of IKS are also wide, which covers every aspect of knowledge of our civilization with facts and with foundation. Because all of you at an education level are at a foundational level. So your foundation should be strong, along with facts. That makes a framework for excellence, and it needs both the mind as well as a mindset. See, it's not just the mind, it's a mindset. She has written so well here. So both are the mind is needed, the mindset is needed. Only then can we do well to bridge the gap between the past and the future, the old and the young, the ancient and modern, knowledge and wisdom, and skill set and mindset. That is the challenge, that's a role for IKS. And here, we at BharathGyan are ready to sort of bring in the help in this paradigm shift of making it happen. We conduct courses regularly. Those who are interested, we can officially talk to your college. If you're interested, you can join in. Those of you, that's something we can do later. So, see, we speak about the idea of Swarajya. What does Swarajya mean? Self-rule. So we are ruling ourselves today because we've got our own president, our own prime minister, our own ministers, our own chief ministers,
our own constitution.
All that, through our constitution ruling. Then we need to have Swatantra. What does Swatantra mean? Tantra means technique. Swatantra, self-technique. Here is a big question mark. Are we applying our own techniques or applying techniques of somebody else, some other countries? It is not so valid in our situation. That is something we need to think, because only when we apply, we have self-rule and apply Swatantra, our own techniques, then can we go to Swavrita, that is meeting our own needs. Otherwise, you don't meet your needs fully. So it's a 3-level step that we need to follow for Swavritti. Only that will give us a sense of confidence and dare to be Indian. That's important because it needs a strength, both inner and outer. Both strengths you need to have that very clearly. This is what we offer here in BharathGyan. All of you can visit our website, BharathGyan, and use it well for that purpose at your convenience. Once again, I'd like to thank the Honorable Secretary of PhD Krishnamal College for inviting us, and all the faculty members for inviting us to make a presentation today. Thank you so much on the subject of IKS and culture.
Thank you so much for your insightful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
On behalf of all present, we extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. D.K.Hari and Dr. HemaHari for their profoundly enlightening session. Your invaluable perspectives have illuminated new dimensions of thought, and we sincerely appreciate the time and effort you dedicated to sharing your expertise. Kindly accept our heartfelt thanks for such an engaging and thought-provoking discourse.
Thank you. Namaste. Vanakkam.